In Section 2B of the provisions in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, it states that everyone has the following fundamental freedoms: freedom of thought, belief, opinion and expression, freedom of the press, and other media of communication. The government considers limiting free speech easier when it is to justify restricting access to things like hate speech, pornography, or marketing of harmful products. This isn't entirely against Section 2B. Most of the time you'll be told it depends, and yeah, it really does depend, on a case-by-case basis. Oftentimes, issues coming directly against or for the provisions of Section 2B end up in the Supreme Court of Canada. The repercussions of violating any limits on free speech are your typical maybe fines or restraining orders, possibly even public service, or in the most extreme cases, incarceration. Which is just yelling someone something furries already do to themselves. Somehow, I feel like I'm skirting a line here, even if I am not. When talking about a game with as much animalization as Atlyss, I need to describe where I come from when judging a piece of media like this. I can't pretend like I am a part of any community that produces or distributes furry content, no matter how much I partake in the action of appreciating Jindo from ZZZ. However, somewhere along the line, I have seen the worst, most fucked up animation of Crystal Fox, and I have to ask myself where I stand. The furry scale, if there's ever a concrete one, can be divided into fourths, much like a pie. And how many slices of pie that you take determines how much of a furry you are. We can take this analogy further by placing different kinds of furry gooner bait along the pie slices. For the first one, it is spiced with Renamon from Digimon. The second one spiced by the MC from Dog Ningen. The third spiced with Cinderace from Pokemon, and the fourth is just a Vaporeon. The first slice of pie would be considered minimal furry, but still a furry considering Renamon is quite animalistic in its traits and its actions. The second slice is the literal offspring of a dog and a human, so we're getting closer to an animal without breaking the illusion of humanity. The third slice has most of the human removed from the equation and is mostly animal, simply bipedal. If you took the fourth slice of the pie, you know exactly what you are. Please do not mail a pipe bomb to my mailbox. Mail a fursuit and a butt plug instead. Preferably with a leash and a collar, because I currently lack these items for my collection that I am currently calling. These items could be illegal given time. Joining such illustrious items such as my knives, fleshlight, and a bottle of Bad Dragon lube, clear. I would consider myself between the second and third slice in terms of my limit. Of course, I haven't tested myself against the endless tide of animals, but if Luxu on Twitter is anything to go by, I should sit comfortably there on the scale. Now, is this because Retussi has become a very hot topic among our favorite group of gacha gamers within the last decade? Maybe. But in Atlyss, there's just one thing I don't understand. Why the fuck do we give the rat girl just an incredible amount of back pain? I can only ask why you thought it was going to be a good idea to add custom. Oh, oh, good heavens, that's. Ooh! That's a lot of the right. That's a lot of the right type of audience for the wrong type of game. There's no sell here, there's nothing to explain. There's just a bunch of horny furries who will click this video for whatever godforsaken reason, but since you're already here, let me share you my experience-based story and explain why becoming a furry isn't about the attraction to animals or even anthropomorphic beings, but rather the emotional attachment to characters and the deep depravity of the human mind. We always ask why, but we never stop to think about why not. Starting off in the game, you're immediately presented with a choice. Within the beginning stages of the game, within the town center, you will find Angela. She is the tutorial character, and up front she is completely normal. However, there's an entire achievement dedicated to annoying her. This means slapping her ass. Again, the right type of audience, the wrong type of game. Furthering this point, there are 3 chests hidden in the hub that give you a mix of useful items and cosmetics. This is a good excuse for me to do so, so I'll talk about furries in terms of their legal status. Collecting and harvesting of fur in Canada is pretty well regulated, and heavily discouraged except for the provisions defined in the federal or provincial government. As an example, if you killed a deer in Alberta, you would be prosecuted and judged based on the Animal Protection Act, or the Animal Protection Regulation. But if you're a farmer and you shoot a wolf on your property, that's pretty fair game. Even further than that, if you're that same farmer and you slaughter one of your milk cows because quite frankly it's time, then yeah, you're also probably fine. In terms of the furry part of this argument, in a general sense, furries are typically subject to the same laws as other people. They are also granted the same rights and responsibilities otherwise of people who are not currently furries. However, given the recent spicy nature of the Western political landscape, you would expect to see some random yet impactful effects on the furry lifestyle, and indeed there are some incidents that cause furries some grief. These are not from the government directly, at least usually, but I should touch on it briefly. There were accusations of litter boxes or some shit in American schools. I can't believe this because people love doing this for the bit, but I don't think it's noteworthy or anything newsworthy. Unsurprisingly, Texas did actually attempt to pass a bill to ban furries and seems to use these anecdotes as evidence that furries are disrupting the school environment. You can probably guess how that bill ended. Thus, you can still doodle Luna from Hell of a Boss in your social studies textbook. And yeah, she'll probably be another part of history given how quickly things happen in the modern political landscape. Now, I'm not a furry, at least not by most metrics, but I can still respect and enjoy some God of War porn every now and again, so take that how you will. Actually, that's a lie, that's a falsehood. As far as I go, Aggron and Pokemon are smash and pass. Hear me out. Bipedal isn't a rule, I just have standards, and I'm sorry, but Jolteon, my beloved, does not pass the test. Luxray does, though. And I say this not with judgment, but with respect. I do not put in any form of interest, artwork, or participation in the furry fandom that would indicate that I am or am not part of that group. And among all the people on my friends list who play Atlyss on Steam, I know for a fact that only 2 of these are furries and the rest are not. Naturally, I had to consult some of these people to talk about their experience with the furryism in the game, and I know I can trust that they are on the other side of the spectrum, as it were, because of their origins and demographics. One of them is a veteran, by definition, and a prolific advocate of certain political views. The other one has a girlfriend, which makes him the opposite of what I have described. Okay, yeah, no, he's got a girlfriend, but he also likes to Smith & Wesson. I'm not fooling anyone. The review of the game. Fine. Fine. More fine. Looks like we're conjuring Reggie. Rat Wizard combo. And considering that as of the recording of the video, Sturdy is based on mana. Yeah, I imagine the Rat Wizard combo is actually pretty good. I have played a majority of my time as a Chang rogue, because I like the idea of being a lore accurate ratfolk with a bow, using my dexterous moves to outmaneuver the enemy while I pelted them to death with a bunch of tiny sticks. What did I get? Fisting. Rat-on-rat violence demands rat-on-rat competition. On the enemy's side, we have General Ratnamics, with their vehicle-based warfare. On the side of Atlyss, we have Accuracy International, with a fucking gun. There's no strategy, just come up with things and play it. As you can imagine, furryism would also attract a certain type of audience using the power of gender bending, so I naturally had to ask them of their opinion. I mean, I don't really care if they're hot, I guess. So it's pretty clear to see that being a furry is a part of this game solidly. What am I actually doing on it? Well, I'm not gooning, but it's pretty simple and straightforward. It's a good MMO type of game that is very upfront with what it requires for you to do if you want to do anything in it. And it's made by what I'm pretty sure is a solo developer.tm. By the way, when I was researching this video game, one of the first search queries I came up with is Atlyss a Gooner game? And yeah, after seeing my character Jiggles, yeah, I totally get it. You would expect that there is a fair selection over the find page on R34, and since that is never getting away from internet history, neither are my hands after cranking it, it also gets put in this video. To be clear, that's a joke, I can't crank it while writing a script. But yeah, this game is definitively furry. It is also a game first, then Gooner maybe like 3rd or 4th. Oh, and there's fishing. In there. There's mining too. Honestly, every game just starts skewing towards the Minecraft. We need to make a Minecraft onion or something. Like, you know how like, there's the tank vulnerability onion, right? Like, the tank survivability onion. It's like, you can make as much armor on the tank as you want, but if the tank gets hit, it's gonna die anyway, so just don't get hit. But if you don't have enough armor, you'll die, but like, if you don't, if you put too much armor on something, it becomes too heavy. I'll end on this note. I wanted to crank out something relatively fast, and still ended up doing research on Canadian law. There's no official guidelines for animal husbandry, but I'm sure you can find something out there that will suit your fantasy. Animal breeding is mandatory for human survival, after all.